As part of its efforts in driving the viability of states in Nigeria, the National Competitiveness Council of Nigeria hosted a press panel discourse on the theme Competitiveness, the Viable Path of Job-Inclusive Growth. Giving her opening remarks, the program manager, Ford Foundation, West Africa, Eva Kuka, shared why the foundation was partnering with NCCN on the Sub-National Competitiveness Index.
We are really available to continue to support this work and to say that the Ford Foundation mission is not only supporting civil society, but as I said, we support a lot government. So the work we are doing here in Nigeria is also targeting the government at the federal level. So the anti-corruption fund that we set up together with others foundation is showing how the foundation is really dedicating itself in accomplishing and ending inequality, ending corruption, but also really making sure that we are really reaching and ending the poverty and also making sure that stakeholders are involved in the different development framework. So we work beyond Nigeria. We work also in Ghana and in Senegal. And at the regional level, we work also with the ECOWAS Commission. So I will be very happy, as I said, to really look at how the civil society will take the outcome of your report and really engage the government, both at the federal level, but also at the state level. It's important because we are supporting many researches and the reports come up, but we realize that the stakeholders need to also use those data to be able to bring change and to make the change happen.
At the panel session moderated by the CEO of the NCCN, Mr. Matthias Chika Modi, Mr. Olufemi Awoyemi, CEO of Proshare, harped on the need for states in Nigeria to look inward and develop their economies.
Assuming there was no oil and somehow we put away all of this oil, how do you think Nigeria can get to grow? What do you think needs to be done to get us to grow?
The same question you asked me, I was privileged to ask Paul Kagame, President Paul Kagame, the same question, and his answer was very simple. He said, because we don't have oil, we have to think. We do not have the luxury to be lazy. And that's the simple analysis of it. If you understand how Nigeria is structured, how it works out, the question is, if we did not have oil, what would we do? When we did not have oil, there was a lot we did. Suffering is optional. So people who therefore want to think would then make a choice between whether they want to achieve progress by design or progress by coincidence. And so if you then begin to put all these things together, you ask yourself, what is the federative unit, a sovereign structure you have under which you're running the economy? And then you will find the situation is that you have a federal government structure that in some ways does not even allow the sovereign status of the states to exist in itself. And so when you find out for businesses, where you find a major challenge for them is that the states are the ones who control all the factors that really influence your life per se, but they're not really given the ability to do so. If anybody running a business in a state or anywhere in Nigeria with about 30% of your cost directly related to power, it's such a significant drawdown your ability. So at the fundamental thing, you are not a productive sovereign nation. Your productivity level is naturally low because of the inefficiencies of government. In fact, I say that most of the businesses that are thriving in Nigeria today would not thrive were the system to be more efficient. These are businesses that have been created off the inefficiencies of government. My challenge is that, and to your specific question, what would we have done if we did not have oil, is that Lagos State has given us a good way to look at it. The minute you took away the statutory revenues from the government, Lagos State was able to look inwards and look at how it was able to do. And I can tell you there are so many state governments which have resources, competencies, advantages, and leverages, but because of the way we function, it is much more easier to do the natural thing, to do the briefcase kind of business than to actually be productive. Truth be said, we are not a productive economy. We're not producing. We're just like able to just wait for government to give you money. I pray, and I felt that Nigeria lost a unique opportunity when the oil prices went down.
The CEO of Budgets, a strategic policy advocacy group in Nigeria, Mr. Seun Onigbinde, was of the view that competitiveness has not been given top priority at the state level.
For me, it's just number one, it comes back to the incentive is grossly lacking. And when you know that there's a godfather or a big father there, which is in the federal government, you tend not to think through it. I always give an example. Benue State produces yam. Benue State does not tax the yam it produces because Nigeria says agriculture should not be vatable. But bring that same yam to Chicken Republic or Sweet Sensation. Lagos State is going to take a consumption tax of 5% on that same yam. So who is the fool in the game? You know, if somehow we say we don't tax food, but we serve it in eateries and it is being taxed, then somebody is not thinking. We need to look everybody needs to sit down within its corridor and ask this difficult question. How do you have the largest portion of your GDP grossly untaxed? Either the food is being sold in formal markets or informal market, either the ones we buy in ShopRite or the one the bourgeoisie people of Lagos buy in Spa. We don't think through this. So, sort of when we build states in which it can't even reason within the confines like, what is my own competitive advantage? And how do I maximize this opportunity? And most of this comes about the kind of disincentives that are put on the ground, the kind of political cycle that we have grossly created, and the fact that the Nigerian political elite does not like to answer the hard questions. And that is just the problem. We're rolling toward this fiscal restructuring now and this federalism. And you will see how it's going to rise so high towards the next election. And somehow it becomes a small campaign conversation for the 2019 that we are going to deliver this. And somehow it nosedives. Look at the way PIB fever coughs up. I remember when I was working for First Bank in 2009, 2012, when there was a whole of agitation on the PIB there. And we made a presentation to the First Bank board and the guy asked me, are you certain this thing will ever happen? And we are here, another 5 years. We still can't even restructure the golden goods of Nigeria. So, in some way, the Nigerian elite has always found a way to drum up conversations around the things that can really, really change Nigeria. And selfishly pivoting for political gains, and gradually the conversation just diminishes.
Mr. Seun Onigbinde and Mr. Matthias Chika Modi speak further on state competitiveness in Nigeria.
Three things we see. Number one is we see an issue with the short electoral cycle. A lot of people don't think of their state in the long term. You hear states like federal government having a medium-term plan, a long-term plan, 2020, Vision 2030, or whatever. We always dream of this. You don't see states plan on the long term. You don't see a blueprint so that as a state, anybody that becomes a governor just plugs into that pipeline. So most things, the policies, the infrastructure, or the decisions that drive states are always around the short-term political cycle. And that time means states cannot be competitive in that mode. That's the first problem. The second challenge you would see when you come about states is to talk about there's poor incentive on every scale. Federalism, the kind of that we practice in the country, just allows states, to come to the federal pause to take money. When there's no money there's a bailout. When there's no bailout, and there are different scenarios that's happening. And I guess the solution to that is we need to really incentivize states to be competitive. VAT, the value-added tax, the company income tax. Why should the company income tax be distributed on the basis of population? What's the incentive for a new company that is sited in a state? We need to come and look at solid minerals. How do we invest properly? We need to be able to separate the serious and the unserious state governance and properly structure. The third thing is that Nigeria always runs away from hard questions. We have a political elite that is driven by what can we do on the now? What are the low-hanging fruits? And Nigeria will not be resolved. The critical questions of Nigeria will not be resolved through organ low-hanging fruits. We need to face the tough questions. And that's why we have a PIB that has been languishing in the national bid for almost 10 years now, because we don't find time to face the hard questions. The federalism issue is a hard question, and I hope we're not just doing it because of the political cycle and for us to become ready for the next election. This is time to face our fears, and I guess every state government should sit back, do a proper appraisal of resources, and think through what are the things that we can use our own resources to leverage. What are the places that we need to go into public-private partnership? What are the things that we need to basically go for debt for, because we know this will be self-liquidating in nature? Sit down and do a portfolio analysis of the opportunities you have in the state. Go back and make your National Economic Council meeting a springboard for federalism in Nigeria. This is when we can have those changes to happen in Nigeria.
I think two things. The first thing is that policies matter. The policies you make they determine what would happen. Policies matter, they make the difference between success and failure, or meeting a desired objective or not. Right. The second thing I would say is that this is not an adversarial relationship. It is one that should complement what they're doing. It's, like I said earlier on, it's an additional tool in that arsenal that you can use for governance. It should be perceived as this tool that can help us govern even better, as against something negative in terms of ranking us. And let me conclude by saying that the ultimate objective of what we're doing at the NCCN, and I think this should be the ultimate objective of every policymaker, is poverty reduction. Markets matter. Markets are the best way of reducing poverty. Nigeria would not develop based on oil. Oil would not work for us. It's not enough. We need to go beyond that. The markets can help diversify the economy, can help with job-rich, inclusive growth, which reduces unemployment, which reduces poverty, and which will make this country a much more pleasant place for all of us.
A major takeaway from the event is that the panelists at the forum agree that states are vital to Nigeria's quest to attaining a productive and viable economy, which is the reason why the NCCN Sub-National Competitiveness Index, that is to be launched next month, must be taken seriously by all stakeholders.